Welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, welcome for the first time. My name is Megan, and this is my mess. This is my unique, strange crocodile in the living room, potty in the living room life. So welcome, welcome. Today, there are a couple of big things you should know. Number one, if you saw the title and that's why you're here, we are absolutely going to talk about Dawn from the Minimal Mom and her divorce from her ex-husband, Tom. So do not worry. But before we get to that, I am going to set the stage, just let you know what you're going to actually be seeing, what the visuals are. I typically do, again, if you're new here, I do cleanups and tidying and decluttering. So today's episode is decluttering not decluttering, sorry. Today's episode is cleaning and tidying the house. Also, here is some split pea soup that was amazing. But we're going to be tidying up because it is my son and stepdaughter's birthday. So oh boy, yes, I never clean out the air fryer. I am disgusting. But we'll get to it. So yeah, so we're going to tidy up because it's a double birthday weekend, and we're going to have a celebratory dinner. We're going to have cake. We're going to have a fruit tart. We're going to have a balloon shaped like a dinosaur. It's going to be amazing. But that is why we're cleaning, and that is why we're tidying up the whole house. We've got the guest bathroom here. We have the kitchen. We have the living room. We have my bedroom and bathroom. So that's what you're going to be watching on the screen, and what we will be talking about will sometimes, coincide with what you're watching and sometimes not. Hello, that is what I look like if you've never seen me. So let's get into it. Let's get into the drama. That is why some of you are here. I will also, sorry, I know I'm giving a lot of caveats and warnings and stuff, but I just want to make sure everybody is on the same page before we start. I am going to be saying some things about divorce and Christianity that might be upsetting to some people. So hello, Willow. That's Willow, the dog. So if you are a conservative Christian who has strong opinions about divorce and Jesus and the Bible and what the Bible says about divorce, this might not be the video for you. It might not. But if you are okay keeping my gosh, I guess I'm a little nervous today. But if you are willing to keep an open mind and listen to someone's perspective who was a divorced Christian, then stay tuned. So, also look at this bedding. I really want to get new bedding, guys. I really, really want to get new bedding. I will insert some photos of the exact bedding that I would like to get, but it's something I need to kind of save up for because it's from Anthropology and it's expensive. There's also a set from the company store that is like a collab with Rifle Paper Company. That would be cool too. But anyway, on to the divorce. You can tell I am very scared to say what I'm about to say because it is very snarky and I don't want to lose people, but this is the truth, at least from my perspective. There's Archie. So, if you have heard, I am assuming you have, Dawn from the Minimal Mom is divorced. She has been divorced since October, so it has been a few months. This has come as a great shock to many of us here in the decluttering minimalism. Well, I'm not really a minimalist, as you can see, but the aspiring minimalism community. And I watched her video. I also watched her ex-husband Tom's video, which he has taken down in the days after he originally posted it. When I watched Dawn's video, I'll just share my reaction to it, my initial reaction. I was happy for her. I mean, obviously, I'm sad when anyone gets divorced. It's especially if they have children. I don't think anyone goes into marriage thinking that they're going to get divorced or expecting that they're going to get divorced. I think that would be a little bit silly um, to make that kind of a commitment legally if you didn't really mean it. So it is always a sad situation. Dawn herself said that she feels sad. Oh, the dogs are barking in real life now. So yeah, it's not a good situation when people get divorced, and especially when they have children. However, I also believe that divorce has a time and place in our society, and that there are certainly circumstances under which divorce is necessary and justified, and when it is absolutely the best option. Maybe both people don't think it's the best option, but I think in Dawn's case, it sounds like it was the best option for her in a slew of options that weren't great. And so, yeah, and it also sounds, I know Tom's video is down, but if you didn't see it, I'll get into it in a minute. It sounds like he did not think it was the best decision. But, you know, it was kind of like a little too late in their case. So let's get in a little bit deeper. So what did Dawn say? Dawn said that they had been married for 16 years. They had, you know, always from the beginning had some challenges, but, you know, they were coming at marriage from a place of commitment. They both are Christians who believe that marriage is, you know, a covenant and a commitment for life. And so Dawn said that she knew it would be a challenge, that she viewed it as, you know, something that would be refining for her, and that she was up for it. She loved Tom, and she knew it would be a little bit difficult, but she was willing and able to proceed. Tom, I don't think he spoke a lot about it in his video as far as like when they got together, but it sounds like he also understood marriage was not, you know, going to be all rosy all the time. Now, here's where things, it sounds like, were challenging. So from Dawn's perspective and from Tom's perspective, in both of their videos, they shared that they had some rough times, and that the rough times lasted for many years, for most of the years, if not all of the years of their marriage. And that for all 16 of the years, Tom struggled with emotional regulation. He had some anger issues, it sounds like, and Dawn was the one who primarily was trying to work on things. I think she made a comment in her video saying something along the lines of, you know, I was under the impression that there was nothing that a praying wife couldn't overcome, right? That if you have a strong faith and you have a strong commitment, that you can overcome anything in your marriage. So she really did, it sounds like, believe that. And it sounds like Tom took advantage of that. It sounds like Tom believed that that was what was going to be the situation forever. And for the majority of their marriage, here's where I'm going to add some speculation in my own opinion, because I don't know them personally. So this is just my outside opinion, observation, I guess, based on what they have said. It sounds like Dawn was probably a little bit stuck. It sounds like Tom was the one who was making the money. He was working outside of the home, and she was the one at home with their 4 children. And she was homeschooling, and she was focused on all of the home stuff and the church stuff and the community stuff. And Tom was the one making the money. When women are in that position, they don't have a lot of options. And it does sound like Dawn has a very supportive family. It sounds like her parents are extremely supportive. That's who she's living with right now. So maybe it wasn't necessarily that Dawn needed money in order to be confident in leaving. Um, but I think for most women who are in a relationship with this dynamic where they don't have their own financial income and they don't maybe have anything outside of mothering and wifing and maybe church, they don't have anything outside of that that they feel like they're good at or they feel like they're excelling. I think women feel stuck. And I would argue also, just through my own observations as a counselor and as somebody who is in a group counseling setting myself as a client, so I hear about other people's marriages very intimately. I think even women who have their own money sometimes or their own career sometimes feel stuck because of commitment and because of, church, which I'm about to get into. So from my perspective, again, this is just speculation. I don't know these people personally. It seems like Dawn was probably putting up with a lot and working very hard on her end to deal with Tom's emotional regulation issues. It sounds like she was probably the one putting in the work, putting in the effort, and probably the one who was praying and, crying out to God and talking to her friends and talking to her pastor. And she said she has a twin sister who is a pastor. She was probably really, really trying to figure out what her part in all of this was and how she could make it better. And if she could just be a better wife or if she could be more supportive, then maybe things would be okay. And it sounds like that went on for a very, very long time. Until one day, Dawn started her YouTube channel. I think she said she started her channel about 5 years ago. Until she started her YouTube channel and very quickly started getting a lot of positive feedback and started finding a lot of success. And I'm not just talking about financial success. Certainly, Dawn is probably one of the most successful YouTubers in the minimalism and decluttering arena. Okay, she is, objectively, she has a large number of subscribers. She has regular promotions and deals that she has. She has a paid community that people can be part of. She has services that people can purchase. She is financially successful, okay, from her YouTube presence or her social media presence. But I would say, as somebody who's also a mom and a YouTuber, obviously on a much smaller scale, I would say that just having a YouTube channel and getting some positive feedback and feeling like you have purpose and something you are good at outside of mothering is huge for self-esteem and self-worth. And my guess is that as Dawn got older, because she's about my age, I'm 41. I think she's my same age, if not a year or two older or younger. My guess is that as she got older, as she started finding herself and her voice and what she was extremely good at, my guess is that she started to realize that she probably didn't need to keep putting up with emotional. Now I don't know for sure that she would call it the A word. But she did do a podcast and she references it in her pinned comment on that video that she posted. She did do a podcast with a woman who specializes in helping women heal from narcissistic abuse or religious abuse in their marriages and emotional abuse and whatever. So I don't know. I guess I don't like to throw that term around lightly, but it sounds like Dawn probably got a healthy dose of self-esteem with age and with her YouTube success, and probably realized that she was worth more than how she was being treated. So in her video, when she says that YouTube did not contribute, that she does not believe that YouTube contributed to the end of her marriage, I get what she's saying. I do understand what she's saying. I think what she's saying is that YouTube, like her success in terms of like Tom being jealous, or her success in terms of her attention being elsewhere, like on YouTube instead of the marriage. I think what she's saying is that those things were not, she does not believe were factors in the divorce, or in her decision to divorce. And I believe that she believes that. I don't think she's lying. But I do think that YouTube probably gave her the confidence boost that she needed, probably gave her the self-esteem that she needed, and probably gave her, even if she wouldn't admit it out loud, even if she's not aware of it, I think having that much financial independence does change a woman's feeling that she needs to stay in a marriage that's not working for her. And so even though she probably could have still ended the marriage even without the financial success, I do think there is something about having your own financial security that really helps you make decisions objectively, right? Like I think it helps just clear some of the emotional and like reactive decision making, and makes it so that you have the freedom and the ability to make big choices, like leaving a marriage that's not working. So while I believe that Dawn doesn't think YouTube was the main reason for the divorce, I think it really had an impact. Even though it was benefiting her husband, she said it allowed him to stop working the job that he had, allowed him to have more freedom to do the type of work that he wanted to be doing, allowed them to buy some rental properties, allowed them to, have him stop commuting for 2-3 hours a day. While she is putting all of that in the positive category, I think I can still see how YouTube probably contributed to where we are today. And now who knows? We don't live in that parallel universe where she didn't make a YouTube channel, so we'll never know what would have happened if she didn't. But I think all in, I think YouTube absolutely was a factor, whether she wants to say that or not. Now, Tom, in his now since deleted video, said that he does think that YouTube was a factor in the end of their marriage. He was pretty honest, which I think is probably why he took the video down. He said straight out, he said, I know that Dawn does not think that YouTube contributed. He said, but I think it did. He said that he believes that YouTube at times took attention away from the family, took attention away from the children, took attention away from the marriage. And that I think he even admitted, like, he saw that it made her feel good. And he saw that it made her feel, like she had a ministry and a mission that was greater than just being a mom and a wife. So I think he didn't say he was jealous of it outright. He did not say that, but he did basically say that from his perspective, that the marriage, maybe would have been more solid if Dawn had not had this other outlet and this means of getting the recognition and the positive attention that he was not giving her. I guess that's my interpretation. That's not exactly how he said it. And unfortunately, I can't reference it anymore because he took it down. Let's talk. Yeah, I guess let's talk a little bit more about what he said that really upset me. I was with him. I appreciated his honesty. He was talking about how, he struggled with emotional regulation. He saw his parents go through a horrific, tumultuous divorce in his 20s. He watched that happen. He said he had a very challenging childhood, and that he admitted he had emotional regulation issues. He said that, so I was with him through all of that. I'm like, okay, amazing. But where he lost me, where I got upset with Tom, where I turned on him, and now I want to call him names, and I may. So if I do, I apologize. But where I turned on him was when he said that, that he didn't believe that Dawn, he said almost everything Dawn said in her video was true. So where he believes, so the YouTube thing is something he didn't agree with that she said. And then he also did not agree that they tried everything. Dawn shared in her video that she believes that they tried everything, that they went to counseling. They went to counseling individually. They went to counseling as a couple. They spoke with pastors. They spoke with friends. They spoke with their families, that they really sought every input that they could, and that she felt that she tried everything that she could, and that she, in her mind, she felt that she would not be comfortable getting divorced unless she had exhausted everything. And now she is at peace because she believes in her heart that she tried everything. Tom says no. Tom said that, yes, he agreed that Dawn was trying very, very hard to be the best wife and the best mom that she could for the majority of their marriage. But then he said when he finally got with the program and started trying his hardest, he said that he felt that she gave up. That even though he was starting to be a kinder person and starting to be more in tune with his feelings and more aware of his triggers, and being a better dad, that as he started growing in those areas, he said he felt like she was pulling further away rather than getting closer. And to that, I say, that is not her fault. Again, these are two 12-minute videos. I don't know these people, but just from my own perspective as a counselor, I'm not diagnosing these people. I've never treated them. They're not my clients. But as a counselor, as someone who has been divorced, as a wife now, as a mom, just from what I witnessed with the information that is available right now, it just seems to me, if I had to take a guess what Dawn's response would be to that statement, which she has not, as far as I know, made a statement in response to that, what I would guess her take on it would be is that was too little too late, my guy. She worked her butt off alone, it sounds like, for 10 plus years. And then I think, this is my conjecture, I think my guess is that when Tom started to see that Dawn was finding happiness somewhere else, that her self-esteem was growing, that she was starting to be joyful and happy in other areas that did not include him, that and I'm guessing when he started to see her bank account grow exponentially from her success, I think he felt massively threatened. And my guess is that because he felt threatened by her success, that is when he started to try. Not that he started to try because he genuinely believed he was in the wrong. I don't think he started to try because, okay, I'm going to let my dogs in. There might be noise. I don't believe he probably started to try because he, genuinely had this moment of self-awareness. I think he probably only started to try when he realized that his lifestyle was at risk. And so if I were in Don's position, I don't think that would be very satisfying, if I'm being honest. I don't think that seeing someone change their behavior out of desperation or out of a fear of loss, I don't think that would be very appealing to me. I don't think that that would make me feel validated or like I was important. I think it would make me feel like this was exactly like what I said. Like this was just a desperate attempt to try and fix things before it was too late. And I think for our friend Tom, it was too late. And I don't think anything he would have tried at that point probably would have helped. So anyway, that is my assessment, my little psychological assessment from afar, unofficially, not a diagnosis. That is my opinion for entertainment purposes of the I can't speak, of the minimal mom's divorce. That's what I think happened personally. Now, here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to make some connections to my own divorce and my own experience with divorce through the lens of someone who was heavily involved in the church and Christianity during my divorce and prior to my divorce and after the divorce. So buckle in if you are ready for that, for the saucy stuff. So here's the deal. I have really strong opinions about this because I feel really, really sad that Dawn felt any sort of pressure from a religious point of view, from a community, a church point of view, because at the end of Tom's video, that again is deleted, so we cannot see it, but this is the part that really pissed me off. He said something like, you know, it really hurts that Dawn left. Like he basically was saying he still loves her. He still has hope that it will work out, even though their divorce is finalized. He said that, you know, when you have a spouse, if you're a Christian and you have a spouse who is putting in effort and who's trying their best, then you don't give up on them. And to me, that sounds like a whiny crybaby response to what happened. That he basically took advantage of her for years and years and years, didn't work on himself for years and years and years, and then just because they're Christians, his wife is supposed to enduringly and unendingly put up with his crappy behavior because that's what a good Christian wife does. And I think that that's bullshit. And I think it's really detrimental to all Christians, to all women, and to just society in general, because it's just not fair. I don't really care what the Bible has to say about divorce. I really don't. But if I did, here's what I would say is that God, in the Bible, it says that God hates divorce, okay? It says he hates divorce. It does not say that he hates divorced people. It does not say that he forbids divorce. It just says that he doesn't like it. And he doesn't like it because, of course, in the order of the universe and all things that are good, divorce wouldn't exist, right? In the way that if you are a believer, in the way that the world was designed, marriage is supposed to be forever. Marriage is supposed to be a lifelong covenant, right? But I do believe if you are a believer in a loving God, if you are a believer in a loving Jesus, then you should also be a believer in the well-being, both mentally and physically and spiritually and sexually and emotionally, of both parties in the marriage. Not only both parties, all parties, including children. So my argument is that if you believe in a loving God and a loving Jesus, then you should not be shaming people for leaving an abusive situation. You should not be blaming and shaming women for getting tired and burnt out of putting up with crappy behavior from entitled men just because they're Christians. Okay? I think it's not right. And I think it is a misuse of religion and power. And I think that is why women who are in marriages with highly religious partners are often at very high risk for isolation and abuse. Okay? You can fight me on that if you want, but you're not going to change my mind. That is my belief, is that the more religious you are, the more at risk you are of manipulation and abuse. So this is where I'm getting a little nervous, but I'm just being honest with you about my thoughts from my observation. I spend a lot of time listening to podcasts and books and people's experiences with high demand religion, and women are put through an awful lot and then told that if they leave that they are displeasing God. And I think that is a real shame and a real of religion. I think it is a really upsetting thing that people would use God's name to perpetuate mistreatment of women and children. So anyway, that's my thoughts there. And the reason I have such strong feelings about it is because when I was when I was married before, not to my current husband, but when I was married before, it was a reaction. That marriage was a rebound relationship I never should have been in. I never should have gotten engaged. I never should have moved in. I never should have gotten married. It was a massive, massive mistake. And I don't believe that people should have to pay for a mistake for the rest of their lives just because they signed a paper and made a promise. I think that is ridiculous, personally. So when I married this person, I was in a very bad mental state because I had been in a long-term relationship with someone that I loved very much and I respected very much, and I really wanted to get married, and he did not want to get married. And so I felt rejected and unvalidated for 6 years. And so when I finally got the courage to leave that relationship when I turned 30, I immediately found someone else who was also emotionally damaged and who had his own baggage. He had just lost his third wife or fourth wife. I don't know. He had lost a wife to cancer mere months before he and I got together. So we both were coming out of some situations, and we both got into a situation that we had no business being in. And we got married foolishly. And then I realized that he was a complete wackadoo. That is the clinical term that I will use because I don't know if he has a diagnosis or not. But he was incredibly paranoid. He was accusing me of cheating constantly, which I never did. And we had several incidents that were very scary for me. He was not ever physically abusive, but one day when we got into a disagreement, I grabbed my car keys and tried to leave, and he blocked me. He physically blocked me from leaving until I threatened that I was going to call 911. And there were many other incidents that just became clear that it was not a safe environment for me to remain. And so and we were attending church the whole time. I was involved in the student ministry at my church. We were, hanging out with other Christian couples. We were going to Bible studies. Like, we were living the Christian life that we were supposed to be living. But behind the scenes, it was absolutely absurd and ridiculous and not okay. Not survive in this environment anymore. It is mentally breaking me. And so eventually they did help me, which I am very grateful for. But I guess my point is, they were not the only Christians that had that opinion. It was the popular opinion at the time that unless someone is physically you, or unless they are having sex with someone else outside of the marriage, that there is no other excuse than those two circumstances for a Christian to get divorced. And I think that is incredibly damaging because it leaves a lot of people in very dangerous situations that, because they don't tick those two boxes of immediate death and danger, that now the woman typically is going to have to live a slow and painful death while she's being emotionally and mentally tormented. So I guess that's why I'm on Dawn's side in this whole story, and why I've just spent the last 40 minutes sharing my opinion, because it hits really close to home. And I also, like I said, I am a therapist. I hear about a lot of people's marriages. I hear a lot of things that most people don't tell anyone else in their life. I am the only one who knows. And also, like I said, as a client, a therapy client in a group, I know other women who are in this situation and who are afraid to leave. And I believe that they are in danger, not just physically, but just their well-being, their life, their soul, their spirit is in danger if they continue to put up with what they're putting up with. So in any case, that is my opinion on divorce and Christianity. I think that Christians are allowed to have their opinion. I think if they want to quote the Bible, they're welcome to do that. But I think if they are willing to put what a book that was written over 2,000 years ago, if they're willing to put that ahead of the human beings that are standing in front of them in pain and who are suffering, and they're willing to turn their back on those very real people who they claim were their friends and family in the name of religion, I think that is sick. I think it is weak, and I think it is abhorrent. And I'm not going to apologize for that opinion. I think that is the truth. So here I am doing my dishes in super speed. I wish it was that fast in real life. If you have stuck with me this long, thank you for listening to me. I know I have about 4 minutes left of this video. I'm not really sure how to end it or what else to say about it, because I think if I keep going, it'll just be more anger and pain. But if you are somebody who is considering divorce, but you feel stuck, or you feel like you haven't done enough, or you feel like, your family or friends would treat you differently if you leave, I'm just here to say that divorce is painful, 100%. Even though I did not respect or really love my ex-husband by the end, I was still sad. I was still hurt. I was still scared. I still, being alone was hard. as somebody who was in a series of long-term relationships throughout my life. So I do understand that leaving is not simple. I also understand that once you have children, that leaving can become very scary for a variety of reasons. Disrupting their routine, having to explain it to them, the thought of having to be away from your children if you need to share custody, the thought of your children being with someone who is not stable or who is not kind while you're not there. I know a lot of women who stay in unhealthy marriages so that they can protect their children. They can't imagine leaving their kids with their spouse unsupervised. So I do understand there are many, many, many reasons why people stay married. I understand it. I respect it. But if you are someone who has been considering leaving for a long time and you are scared, but you know that it's the right thing to do, I guess I just want to say that there are a lot of resources out there. There are a lot of support groups. There are counselors who specialize in it. There are, women's shelters who, even if you don't need to stay in a women's shelter, they have an absurd amount of resources to help you kind of sort through these things without having to spend a lot of money. So if it is something you're considering, again, I'm not here to promote divorce as this amazing, wonderful thing that everyone should do. I think marriage is beautiful. I love my husband. I love my family. I would hate to have to go through that again at any point. But I do think that sometimes it is necessary and it is healthy and it is the absolute right choice. And it makes me really sad that religion makes it so much harder than it needs to be. And it makes me sad that, some people's families make it a lot harder and more painful than it should be. So, because it's already hard. So thank you so much for watching. I love you. I hope you enjoyed this bizarre mix of cleaning and chatting. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them, even if they're not very nice. It all helps my engagement. So thank you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Say something that will make my day, 'cause these memories of her won't go away. Haunting me so I can't sleep. She was a pretty little liar who cut me deep, 'cause she left me here alone. Now my bed feels just like cobblestone. Oh, why did she go? Oh, was I supposed to know that she'd leave? Was I too naive to think that she'd be the one? Whoa, why did she go? I met her back in 2005. It was her crooked little smile that caught my eye. Time went by and it was her and I. She promised me to never leave my side, but she left me here alone. I know it's dumb, I still check my phone, 'cause I can't move on. Whoa, why did she go? Whoa, was I supposed to know that she'd leave? Was I too naive